Hey, welcome everybody. I sure appreciate you joining me. This is Dr. Sean Michael Greener. I'm setting this up. This was originally supposed to be a live broadcast. However, for some reason or another, that part is not working. So me and my squeaky chair and my puppy over there. Hey, that rhymes. We're gonna go ahead and do this in one take, and then we will we'll put it out immediately. So there'll be no delay whatsoever. And in the meantime, I'll figure out why, or I'll ask Christopher, because that's what I do when I don't know. Is I'll ask Christopher how to do it. So welcome to the True Word Faith for Life podcast with Dr. Sean. What does severe BPD look like? Now, BPD, if you listen to my other two episodes, part 1 and part 2, you know that's borderline personality disorder. And I mentioned in the description that this is I write for Quora and Quora. So if you go there and search Dr. Sean M. Greener or Sean Michael Greener, I'll pop up, and you can follow and subscribe or whatever it is you do there. This has had over 2 million views. So it touched a chord, and I thought I would make it available to my YouTube family. And by the way, welcome family. I appreciate it. That's what I think of you as. And I hope that you think of me as beneficial to invest your time. So what does severe BPD look like? And I want to say there's a quote that I love. One either survives in the jungle or exists in the zoo. One either survives in the jungle or exists in the zoo. I want you to think about that. Now, this statement suggests a dichotomy between two ways of living. One must be strong and resilient to survive in a challenging environment like the jungle, and the other must be one where life is more controlled and more comfortable, akin to existing in a zoo. This quote is often attached to and used metaphorically, really, to describe the choices people make in navigating life's challenges. So speaking of survival, I was asked on Quora, what a relationship. See, that's kind of how it works there. People ask you questions. You're a subject matter expert. You're chosen for that. Mine are scripture from a Hebraic worldview and terrorism and counterterrorism, Islam, and borderline personality disorder and other issues relating to counseling and therapy and things of that nature. And when I posted this was in response to a question that some dear person posed to me on Quora. And so what happens is you put it out there, you answer their question, which was, what does a relationship with severe BPD look like? That was the original question. And so I responded, and if you've spent any time with me, I'm going to deal with you honestly. When I counseled and provided therapy, I handled really, really bad things. Really, really bad things. Things that kind of wreck people. And BPD is one of them. Borderline personality disorder is one of them. Now, I heard one of the experts in comments in one of my last posts dealing with BPD that I got that wrong, including narcissistic. They said they're separate and distinct. They're not. Very often, there are multiple clusters of disorder which are related and work with and against each other. So, I appreciate that you're a genius because you lived through it, but, that's not how it works. It's a much more complex thing than that. So in answer to the question, what does a relationship with someone with severe BPD look like? It's rough. And if you're listening and you've been through all of this, you're living it or you lived it. And if you've lived it, you're trying to lick your wounds and and recover from it's brutal. Rough is too light. Honestly, severe BPD, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to experience, and it's heartbreaking to watch from the front row. It's messy, and it's destructive. I'd love to say, something I'm going to say here will prevent you from going through a horrible situation, a horrible relationship with someone with BPD. And maybe you'll pick up on something, and maybe you're at the outer edges of a relationship with someone, the beginning of a relationship with someone that's going to sound a lot like what I'm going to describe. I hope it helps you. I hope it does. I hope it prevents. Very often people will get into a relationship with someone with BPD, and in the early stages, it's amazing. It's so intoxicating because they're just bombing you with love. They're bombing you with attention. You're so important to them. They put you up on this pedestal that you think, wow, this is what it's about. This is why. This is what I've always wanted. I want to say the severity of borderline personality disorder, it can vary among different people. Some have a very light touch of it, and it stays light. Some start light in childhood, most often, and then it gets a lot worse. Lots of things happen. Most often, people who have BPD, well, they start off really, it's minor. You can barely tell. They just seem a little more intense than other kids. And what happens is they grow up, if it's not attended to, which most often it's not, they then seek out people, because it comes usually from parental influence is a huge thing. So some people get help, and it changes their life for the better. And some people don't get help. Most people don't get help. And it's brutal. It's brutal on them. I have empathy toward them. But it's really brutal on people who have no idea what they're getting into. They don't, people don't wear a banner, borderline personality disorder, BPD. There's no Scarlet A. So I want to say this because I want to be kind to people who suffer with BPD. And I want to say that there's varying intensities. And it's very important to approach every person that you're dealing with that may have BPD. Or, by the way, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that. Please click on the little bell. Or, if you're exposed to somebody in the workplace or whatever, now this is what's a relationship like with someone with severe BPD. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be very difficult to have sensitivity, to be empathic toward this, to have empathy. But you have to, because, which is not to say that you don't protect yourself. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So severe cases of BPD and I'm just going to say BPD, borderline personality disorder, it's just easier. It can manifest in various ways, and here's some characteristics that may be present. Maybe not all of them. Maybe the person that you're thinking of, or maybe you. Maybe you've tuned in and you've said, something is wrong with me, man. Maybe you're a young woman, or maybe you're in your 50s, even 60s, and you're like, my life has been a living hell. and I don't know what's wrong. And I don't know what to do about it. I know something's wrong, and I don't know what it is. As you listen to this, if you're that person, understand that I'm not trying to shame you. I'm not trying to harm you. I'm not trying to put you in a cage. I'm hoping this frees you. I'm hoping that you are not a statistic that says, I reject this. That you're one of the ones that says, hey, you know what? This is no good, man. I got to change this. I got to do something about it. And if you're a person in a relationship with someone, maybe you're the person that originally asked the question, and after over 2 million views of this post on Quora, under my thing on Quora, if you're that person, God bless you. God bless you. I know it's hard. I do. I've been very, very close to this issue, both personally and through just crushing therapy, therapy patients and clients and counselees. So many. You can't imagine how many. And my heart goes out to you. So I want you to listen. How is this going to help you? If you're a person that has BPD or you think you have it, when you know, you can do something about it. When you've confronted it, you can do something about it. But if you reject it, if you say, hey, I'm not trying to hear this. I'm not trying to label myself with this terrible thing. Just listen to the different things that I'm going to talk about, the different characteristics, and see. And if you're a person in contemplating a relationship, maybe you've gone out on a couple dates with someone, and man, is it intense in a good way. But you're a little bit concerned, and you can't put your finger on why. Just listen. Just listen. I'm not trying to harsh your mellow or crush your joy, because a lot of times in the early phases, it can be so joyful to be in a relationship with someone with BPD. You don't know that you are. But the benefits, the early on benefits, like I said in the beginning, are massive. And it might make you think, man, this is the one. This is my person. Just listen with an open mind. What you do with it is up to you. Put in the comments also if you are a person who you are either the person, and you don't have to reveal your name or any of that. You don't have to reveal personal, vulnerable data, all that stuff. Listen, I respect all that. But maybe share your experience. And if you're a person that you've tuned in and you've said, man, I'm the crushed one, there's help for you, and there's hope for you, and I don't want you to ever feel that there isn't. So what are some of the characteristics? Intense and frequent mood swings. Severe BPD, it often involves highly unstable and intense mood swings. People may experience rapid shifts, unexplainable shifts between extreme emotions such as intense anger, deep sadness, anxiety, or euphoria. Right? I mean, everything's fine, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden, this rapid shift, almost imperceptibly, from utter joy and happiness to extreme and intense anger, which you can't figure out why, or deep sadness, which you also can't figure out why, or their intensity of their anxiety is through the roof. Now, it could also be euphoric. The mood could be euphoric. They're living suddenly in the light. They're so happy, and nothing could be better. And because you're with them, Nothing could be better for you, you think. Now, these mood swings, they can occur multiple times within a single day. And you may think, man, I'm with a schizophrenic woman, or I'm with a schizophrenic man. Like, what did I, or you could put what did I do? What did I say? Have you ever, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're watching this video, has that ever been you? Where someone's intensity of mood changes, I mean, apple and aardvarks, multiple times within a single day. And it could be triggered by seemingly minor events. Maybe put in the comments if that's been you. Now, self-destructive behavior. Man, I hate talking about this one. People with severe BPD, they often engage in frequent self-destructive behaviors as a means of coping with emotional pain. And it's emotional pain that they don't even understand. And these could involve recurrent self-harm, such as cutting, where people cut themselves to experience pain, or burning oneself. We're learning now that in the past, many people who would present, younger people who would present with cutting or burns, they could be cigarette burns. Sorry, my mouth is super dry. Back in the day, before people knew, and I'm a specialist in this area. It's not all I do, but back in the day, we would, if they were a young person, hey, they were abused. A parent is hurting them. A parent is doing harm to them, right? That would be the assumption among police officers. You can't blame them. Look, they want to protect. They don't want someone to be in this situation where harm comes to them, where they're suffering physical abuse, emotional abuse. So sometimes this would open up an investigation because people just didn't understand. Police and social workers and all these things just didn't understand. But this can happen. Look, it's not just suicidal gestures, right? I'm going to talk about suicidal ideation next, but it's not just that. It's substance abuse, super risky behaviors, things that they do that, man, come on. This is crazy what you're doing. This could be the self-destructive behaviors that are fairly characteristic and fairly common. I'm going to talk about suicidal ideation, and suicide has touched my family, friends that I dearly love. I've personally witnessed several suicides through my past careers, been 5-10 feet away. I've had loved ones commit suicide and broke my heart. Family that I love. But when there's chronic suicidal ideation, severe BPD, they can be persistent and severe suicidal thoughts. This is what we call suicidal ideation. You idealize suicide, and in your head you're like, maybe it's you're trying to contemplate or plan your own death. You feel overwhelmed by your own emotional pain and a sense of hopelessness. Look, and sometimes these people are going to be better without me. I can't fix me. I keep hurting people. And you may be thinking that's the way out. It's not the way out. There's help for you. There's hope for you. Number one, I'm a person of great faith. It's, true word, faith for life with Dr. Sean. That's not a part of my life. It's the pivotal part of my life. And I would encourage you to come along with the journey. Click on subscribe and click the little bell, and we're going to be doing lots of things to help you understand faith, grow in your faith. And it's going to be pretty cool. But look, if you're that person, you have this suicidal ideation, it's critical. It's crucial to take any suicidal ideation seriously and seek immediate professional help. Now, if you're a person that's in a relationship with someone that's exhibiting these signs, you can't wait. They're going to be mad at you. If you call the police or you're at, the emergency room for some sort of injury and you come alongside the doctor or the nurse or whatever, and you say, hey, this is not the first time, and these are some things that I'm seeing that I think maybe somebody ought to look at. Yeah, they're going to be mad. They are. And if you're that person, be brave and say, I need help. Tell them that you need help. You're probably worried about your career. You're probably worried about your family deserting you. You might be worried about your friends. Are they going to shun me? Am I going to feel even more abandoned and alone than I already do? No, reach out. But reach out to professionals. It's okay to talk to your friends, but unless your friend is a professional, that's not who you need. You need help at this point, real help. Now this brings me to number 4. What's it like to be in a relationship with someone with severe BPD? Impulsive and reckless actions. Man, hold on to your hat. Severe BPD, it often involves impulsive and high-risk behaviors that completely disregard potential consequences. And I mean completely. There's no thought of it. There's no contemplation. There's no considering of cause and effect. Right? And it could be reckless driving, driving fast, driving stupid, driving drunk. It could be excessive gambling. Maybe you're not even typically a gambler. Now all of a sudden you're gambling, like crazy gambling. It could be unprotected sexual encounters with people you don't know or people you know are dangerous. If you're that person and you're in love with someone, truly in love with somebody, but you find yourself constantly pivoting to secret affairs and secret, we call it supply. You're trying to find that other supply that makes you feel, oh man, I'm so wanted. Because once a relationship that we call it the honeymoon phase, but once that kind of dulls a little bit, then you start looking, man, I hate to give this analogy, but it's like Dracula and blood. So then you start having unprotected sexual encounters. Super high risk stuff. Serious substance abuse. Very often people with severe BPD, and if you're in a relationship with somebody, you're gonna see this sign is going to be something you see the effects of: binge eating, purging, anorexia nervosa or bulimia, or engaging in dangerous activities without even considering your safety. This is number 5. What's it like to be in a relationship with someone with severe BPD? You may experience, if it's you going through it, or you're alongside someone, you love somebody that's going through it, has BPD. Frequent hospitalizations. People with severe BPD, they may require repeated hospitalizations due to acute crises, I should say. Self-harm, that cutting, that burning, that suicidal behavior. Or maybe it's, they present at the ER because they can't manage their overwhelming emotions. They're so overwhelming that, they know they have them, but they don't know what to do. And let me just tell you, it's no shame in it. Those hospitalizations could save your life. Just like if you share this with somebody who you think might be going through this. Listen, I'm nobody. But you may know somebody who's going through this, either as the person with it or the person that is in love with the person that has it. You may save their life, because most people with this don't feel any sense of hope. Well, this is number 6. Intense fear of abandonment. People with severe BPD, what drives it seems, is this intense fear of abandonment. And it usually starts as a child. They often experience extreme and pervasive fear of abandonment, and they don't know why. They just know, Lord Jesus, please don't make me go through this. It's their biggest fear in their life, that they don't want to experience abandonment. And they'll go to any length to prevent real or perceived abandonment. And listen, this can lead to really desperate and really clingy behaviors, an intense fear of being alone, and difficulties maintaining stable relationships. Because you're not going to hurt me. You're not going to abandon me. I'm going to hurt you first, because, man, the thing I fear the worst in the world is abandonment, of being alone, of being rejected. And I'll tell you this, number 7, listen, if you're a person that's with a person who this is starting to ring a bell with you, the chronic relationship instability, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, massive, horrific breakup, you catch them cheating, either initially or again, or their behavior just freaks you out. And then they come to you and they beg you on their hands and knees most times, please don't do this. And they'll have makeup sex that'll be mind-blowing. They'll be so kind to you. They'll be, listen, I'm going to get help. I'm going to do all these things. But then when you look back at their history, you start to see things. You say, well, it's starting to add up. I'm starting to see things that because I was just so crazy in love. I was so intoxicated with this attention, this affection that I've wanted my whole life, that I didn't look back and see this person's had some seriously tumultuous and unstable relationships. They may struggle to maintain long-term connections because of intense conflicts or idealization. Idealization is where they make you the best thing since sliced bread. You're their person. You're the love of their life, their soulmate. And then guess what? Right after idealization is devaluation cycles. The fear of rejection or difficulty trusting others. And these interpersonal difficulties, they can further contribute to feelings of loneliness. It's a horrible cycle. The loneliness and isolation, they cause it. They're the cause of it. They don't know it, but they are. Now, number 8, what's it like to be in a relationship with someone with severe BPD? I'm just going to tell you this. Severe BPD often requires intensive treatment. Comprehensive and specialized treatment. This can involve long-term psychotherapy, such as dialectal behavior therapy, which is DBT, dialectal behavior therapy. This addresses emotional regulation, distress tolerance, and interpersonal skills. And these things can be built up. Look, I'm going to tell you, very often these people are beautiful, very often handsome, very often extremely intelligent. And yet they have this thing they just can't manage. In some cases, some will need more intensive treatment settings, such as a residential treatment program or a day hospital, to stabilize and manage their symptoms. Remember, every person with BPD is unique, and the presentation of BPD can differ from person to person. Look, if you or someone you know is experiencing severe BPD symptoms, look, you've got to seek professional help from a qualified mental health provider who has experience, successful experience in dealing with borderline personality disorder. They'll do a thorough assessment. It's really important that you don't do the assessment and conclude, yep, this person has that. It requires a professional to do it. Look, I'm not trying to make a Lexus payment. I'm not asking for a dime from you. Not a dime. But it can save your life. Do you know how high the rate of suicide is among people with BPD? And not for nothing, the rate of suicide among people who live with someone who has BPD. Because you lose your mind, right? The question was, what's it like to be in a relationship with someone with severe BPD? And I'm just here to tell you. Now listen, if you don't get butthurt over this, if you're a person with BPD and you come here, oh, he's saying we're nut job, murderer, suicidal, and all that stuff. I've never been that. And I've been BPD my whole life or whatever. First of all, if you've never been diagnosed, professionally diagnosed, get professionally diagnosed. Get help professionally. I'm not saying you don't have it. I'm just saying, hey, you got to spend the time, you got to spend the money, and you got to spend the emotional capital of finding out for sure, because it could be something very similar, but not BPD. So if the treatment plan is different for it, the stigma in this is huge. And I mean to tell you, huge. But a professional can develop an appropriate treatment plan based on a thorough assessment. And that takes investing of yourself, time, money. Somebody says they'll evaluate you for free, go to someone else. Because a competent, trained, licensed, insured, degreed counselor, they're not going to do it for free. They shouldn't do it for free. It's unprofessional, and it's really, to some degree, malpractice, because you have to invest in it. You don't respect what you don't pay for. I've found that to be the case. I've given lots of free advice over the years, and you know what? People don't respect it. And just so you know, this video and my Quora post, it doesn't represent medical advice. This doesn't substitute for competent in-person medical advice. I need you to understand that. Many of you are going to put in comments, and I appreciate the comments, a desire for me, and I've experienced this literally tens of thousands of times. It's not because I'm any great thing. It's just because it's a naturally flowing thing that can happen is, hey, will you be my counselor? And the answer is no. I want to help you in this way the best that I can, but I can't counsel you. I can't provide an assessment for you. I can give you some advice, but it's not legal medical advice. Look, I appreciate you reading this. If you're reading it on Quora, or you're watching this on Quora, or you're watching this on True Word Faith for Life with Dr. Sean, my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you listening, watching, and sharing it. I don't make anything for doing this. And it's free to share. Free, no charge. But it could be priceless to someone you love. It might save their life. And I hope you understand that. It might save their life. Don't delay. God bless you and keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you, and you're going in and you're coming out. Shalom, shalom.